My name's Steve Whitney. I'm one of the founders and owners of James and Whitney Company.
My name's Eric James. I'm also one of the founders of James and Whitney.
Okay, back to the beginning. So Eric James and I met at a mutual friend's birthday party by chance. We both got the invite separately. Knew a lot of the same people there, but had never actually been formally introduced. So we started talking probably in the kitchen, somewhere right around the bar. We ended up, I think we were probably there for about 4 hours, maybe 5 hours, and I don't think we ever left that room. So it was a very captivating conversation, and we had, before the night was over, set up a time to meet and look at a project. Eric was very big on collaborating, had partnered with people in the past, and seen a lot of success with that. And so he was the one that offered it, and I was excited about it. And I had not done nearly as much partnering. And so for me, I was a little younger, a little fiery. I first, when I met him, thought like, oh, this guy's my competition. What are we going to actually do together? And by the end of the night, the conversation completely shifted my mindset to someone I could partner with for a very long time. So I started in construction full-time when I was 16 years old, working for the Shelter Institute, building timber frames. And before that, I'd had a little bit of experience in carpentry, starting with someone I used to deliver a paper for. I would help him build sheds, and he would sell them. That was my first intro around 12 years old. I installed siding on my grandfather's house in Portland when I was 13, re-roofed it the next summer when I was 14 with one of my uncles, and just kind of had been around it for a little bit. Started full-time and was able to build a lot of houses with the shelter, was able to attend their course, learn how to build timber frames, and then got to travel with them and do that all over New England and kind of up and down the East Coast. And by the time I was 19, an opportunity presented itself for me to start my own company. And I started by working for various people I knew, being a part of a team as a subcontractor, and then painting houses for people and slowly trying to convince them to hire a 19-year-old, 20-year-old to actually do a larger project, and kept growing from there. So I would build a couple decks, got a big addition project that I was able to do, a couple large remodels, and continued to build the company from there before we partnered.
Well, I grew up in a small town, Pittston, a lot of farming and forestry families. My parents were both very hardworking. My dad's a carpenter, so I would work with him when I could in the summertime, weekends. I dug bloodworms with my grandfather and uncle. I would work on farms, doing haying. Always enjoyed working, making my own money as a hobby. I always liked to play games, especially for money, and that led to being a professional poker player for a period of time. And I had great successes at poker, and I think one of the reasons for that is I had great friends who also played and would always share information and help each other. And we had a tight-knit group and would really, instead of looking at each other as competition, would help bring each other up and travel. I've gone as far as Australia to play in a tournament, West Coast, all over the, Atlantic City, Connecticut, home games. So what I learned about winning at poker and working with others and networking, I used that kind of approach in the partnership with Steve Whitney of strength in numbers, collaboration, and we met at that birthday party, and I'll sometimes say it all started from a piece of paper, an LLC and an agreement, which really has no value to me, and we've built something pretty great, and it's all about our people. We have great people, and it's been fun. So I was playing poker professionally, and I was doing that at a time when internet poker first became a thing. I played on the very first sites, and when things weren't going well, I would sometimes take a break, go back into the field, working for my dad, building homes, carpentry, physical labor, roofing. I did a lot of roofing, and it would make me appreciate, making money from a computer or inside a casino where it's warm and you're in a comfortable chair. So the games got a bit worse, and at a poker game that I had at my home, there was a developer who's also a friend of mine who was building spec houses. I saw what he was doing and talked to my dad about it. So I started building spec homes, affordable, single-story homes, and got more involved with his business, and eventually bought his business from him. And I was running that business when Steve and I met.
So I'd been running the company I had before Eric and I started James and Whitney. It was called East Shore Builders, and I worked anywhere from Maine, actually all the way down to New York. Was a licensed contractor in Westchester County, New York. Did a few projects down there, traveled, started to build the company. I believe I had 6 employees when we partnered, and it was mostly carpentry, a lot of remodeling and renovation. We would do a roof, we would replace siding, but it was very much just working with the employees I had, not really growing beyond just the ability that we had as a team. And we had done some really cool projects, some larger renovations. And I believe when Eric and I partnered, I had just done the most amount of business I ever had on my own. And we're sharing with him some of those stories about doing that and about traveling back and forth to New York and about my intentions to focus on the state of Maine and continue to grow where there seemed to be so much opportunity. And it was attractive to me. His experience was much more in new construction, developing land, where I had a lot more experience renovating, remodeling. And so it kind of right out of the gate, it sounded like we both had maybe some offsetting skills and experiences that would help us work together in a really productive way.
So I would say James and Whitney today, it's all about our people, and we have outstanding people, very capable, highly skilled individuals, and our focus is 3 legs. We have a development side, and Steve and I spend a lot of time with acquisitions for the development side, building out small neighborhoods, self-storage facilities, a few flips, and then we have our builders restorers branch, which is highly skilled carpenters, homes, barns, garages, restorations, and then we have our exteriors division, which is growing rapidly, which is roofing, siding, windows, decks, everything on the outside of a home. And, all 3 legs are very important, and we have, it's really about the people. We have great people.
James and Whitney is a amazing place to work with incredible values from the very core when we were founded. A place where people can build a career, a place where we wake up every single day, as does everyone in our company, certainly everyone on our management team, and they genuinely want to make it a place that people want to come to work, a place where we're solution-based, where we're always producing and performing at a high level. We set big expectations, but ones that I think are completely achievable, and they're all based around taking care of our customers. So without our customers, we're nothing. The products that we sell are all based around construction, a lot of residential, a lot of commercial nowadays. And Eric mentioned we have 3 legs to the company. We have our development side, where we build everything from small neighborhoods to self-storage facilities. And we have our building and restoration side, where we'll do any type of construction service for a customer. A lot of large-scale renovations, building a new home, and taking care of whatever needs they may have faced, or specifically more towards the interior of the home and completing work from the interior side. And then we have our rapidly growing leg, the exteriors division, where it focuses on all types of roofing, siding, decking, windows, and doors. I always say if you can stand in your backyard and you can see it. We want to take ownership of that. We want to provide that service to you. We want to install it, and we want to be able to warranty that for you and ensure that you have a quality product there that's going to stand the test of time.
So we met for a beer at Maine Beer Company in Freeport.
Tiny back then, too.
And yeah, it was just a little place at the time. And just kind of chatted after this birthday party that we met at. And we decided we'd start looking at jobs together. And we never really gave up on that. We looked at a lot of jobs and we put out a lot of quotes, either in, East Shore Builders or Harold James Inc., which was the company I purchased from my father. And finally, we landed a contract to build a new construction home. And so we formed the LLC at that point and took on this project for a nice couple. And
Who are still clients today?
who are still clients today, really nice people. The project went really well, successful build, beautiful home. And that was kind of the launch of James and Whitney. And we really put our time in to get to that point, though, on top of him running his business and me running mine. I remember going to, Falmouth, Yarmouth, Cape Elizabeth, and all these different sites and pricing all these different jobs. And we decided, if we were going to do this, we wanted it to be a good fit and the right project. So we finally found that, and we began business together.
Yeah, no looking back.
Right.
We started with, found one really great subcontracting crew
Yep.
and decided that we were going to have that be the start of James and Whitney. And when we signed that first job, completed it, the home came out beautiful. We were able to get another contract signed, and I think it was at that point we just started looking at, now that we had the company formed, we had all of our insurance in place, we decided that would be the right time to look at every job together. And I think it was a year we operated that way, a little under a year, until the very beginning of 2018, we merged both companies into one.
Yep.
That was the official, every employee from his company, from my company, started to work strictly for James and Whitney. We bought a couple of trucks under the new LLC, and we had, I think, just finished the renovation on the building we're sitting in today. This was our first real estate project we ever did together.
Yep. First investment. Yep.
So we got that accomplished, and we started moving forward. Eric and I doing every estimate, looking to do renovations, remodels, and new construction for anyone that wanted to work with us in the state of Maine. And the whole time we were talking about how we would grow the company now that we had each other's resources. We had two minds collaborating on every project we would do and every future decision. We use the phrase all the time with each other, a whiteboard exercise. And it's from what we used to do when we would have a decision to make, when we were discussing the future. We would do a whiteboard exercise, and some nights we'd be at the office until midnight.
Yeah.
Had some, upset wives at the time every once in a while, just taking a little too much time. But we started putting the plan together because we knew now that we partnered, we wanted to grow the company. We wanted to be able to offer the values that we were forming to people in the state that were looking to be in this industry. So we've, from day one, cared very much about the people of the company, and we know that we are nothing without the people that work here and how important that is, how important those values are. And then secondly, being able to offer this service to as many customers as possible. We thought we had the solution, still believe that we do, and being able to bring that service to them. So I would say it was at that point we started to separate the different divisions. We started to form what that would look like, how we could scale the exteriors, how we could continue to provide the building and restoration service, and then the new development projects we were going to take on.
Yeah, and it's important to remember, no matter what, we were always willing to do whatever it took to get the job done. You mentioned working until midnight. I remember putting our tool belts on.
Yep.
We wouldn't give up ever. We were
No.
determined to be successful. We had great people that depended on us. And there were times at the beginning when we had to work extra hard, extra long hours, get creative to keep everyone busy and all the accounts balanced, and we did it. And we were both very determined, and we were willing to put in the time no matter what. The business was very important to us.
I still appreciate to this day, but appreciated from day one. When I had started my company, it was just me. I had mentors, I had people I trusted, close advisors that I would always go to for advice, but there was never anyone else in the business. It was just kind of, when you're a sole proprietor, you're trying to do all these things, it's just you. It's where the buck stops, stops, and everything in between. So from day one, having a good friend, very much a best friend nowadays, someone that I could go and talk to about every decision, whether it was accounts receivable related, whether it was the bookkeeping that we had at the time, and what changes we needed to make in order to be able to grow to the next level that we had set a goal for. It was always so valuable to have a partner there, someone to collaborate with. And I think that's where we were able to find success.
Yeah, definitely.
That constant partner that's there next to you and willing to work until there is a solution.
Yep, I agree with that. If you're in challenging times or tough decisions to be made, it's helpful to have somebody you align with to work through the options, remove barriers, conquer challenges. It's much easier than bringing it home or bringing it to an employee that has enough on their plate. A good business partner that's fully aligned. It's the power of collaboration. Two minds are greater than one, and we always work through every problem, every consideration. If we're making an investment for the company, it's thoughtful and considered thoroughly, and we collaborate on every decision that's important.
I like to go back to a time, everyone remembers this time, but you go back to the beginning of 2020, March 2020. We were sitting in our office, which was in Freeport at the time, and we got a call after the stay-at-home order went out. The market completely crashed, and I think we had 2 people that had signed contracts with us call and say, hey, put that on hold. They were large projects. They were new. One was a massive renovation. One was a brand new home. And we got a call. We said, well, if we cancel this contract, you will be taken out of our schedule. You're already in there. They said, no, I'm not comfortable. I want to send it back. And Eric and I were both in the industry back in 2008 when it collapsed, and we saw what that did to the industry. So I would say those were some pretty challenging times. I remember a lot of late nights determining what we were going to do. We'd already started our growth phase. We had hired new staff members. We had put our plan together for the exteriors division to finally be able to take off. And we had to sit down and seriously evaluate everything. But to go back to our people, we had, I think a couple people took a little time off, but for the most part, 80%, 85% of the employees at the company showed up every single day.
Yeah, we were essential.
Yeah.
Workforce, and continued to work mostly outside at people's homes, and that's really when we started to gain some momentum. Something I always think about, I believe, everything that I have, I'm just borrowing it while I'm here. I don't actually own anything, technically, in a sense. So, I treat myself as more of an employee than an owner of the company. Even though I technically own it, it does seem like the creation of James and Whitney and our ownership of it almost happened by chance in a way, and it's a good thing, and I'm proud of it, and I'm thankful, but it wasn't carefully planned. It was just fate and hard work, and everything aligned, and I'm glad that it did. So to reflect on it, it's quite interesting, really.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things you never really, there's not like a sit back and pat yourself on the back moment. Because we just work for the company, we're employees, and we're still pushing, we're still working hard. So you don't sit back and praise something that happened when you're still in the middle of it. It's like you get halfway through a football game, you're not sitting there and cheering because you're up 20 points. You got to finish out the game. There's nothing really to be that excited about. Celebrate the wins as you go, but focusing on the game, remembering that you're still in it, and you still have to work hard. It's a good mindset to be in.
That is, and that reminds me, we'll often, if we're driving to a project, we talk about the company and what we should be doing, and especially the last few years, we've had some great successes as a company, and we've grown in size, profitability, market share, all these things, but we always take a moment and just say, no matter how good we think we're doing, no matter how well our employees are being taken care of, we can do better. Pretty much every day.
One of my favorite phrases.
We try to do better for the employees and position the company for hard times, and just like a game of chess, thinking ahead several moves. What if this happens? What if we lose labor here? What if these contracts fall apart? Just always, what can we do to make this a better business for its employees and its customers?
I know one of our big ones we set in 2020, which was to, by the end of the year, have a plan in place to provide health care to employees. And we were able to find that solution and implement it in 2021. And that felt like, at the time, just such a big win. To be able to set a goal, work hard, follow it all the way through, and complete it, and especially a goal that was just there to take care of the people that are working every day to continue to take care of our customers and make this a great place to work.
Yeah, so one of my mentors, I had some great mentors who I met through the business of investing in real estate and being a contractor. Andre told me a story of how one of his associates, when he acquired a company, he would put up a sign in a common area, the break room or near the restrooms, that said, "This company will continue forever." And that struck me powerfully, and I don't know exactly why, but I shared that with Steve, that mindset of this company will continue forever. And that's kind of the approach that we use in making decisions. So even if Steve and I, were not involved, not here, whatever the case may be, we hope that this company will continue forever.
I would say the future for our company and the focus at this time is bringing the services. We're very well established now in Maine, and bringing those same services to people in New Hampshire. It's one state away. We would travel there and do a project there every once in a while, but about 4 months ago we set up a home base in Portsmouth, New Hampshire. So taking the same quality care that we provide to every customer in Maine, getting that to as many people in New Hampshire as possible. We're going to start with one office there. We have 2 offices in Maine, 1 in New Hampshire. My intention is for us to be able to open another office in New Hampshire to continue to push and provide the quality service that we offer now to as many people as possible in the 2 states of Maine and New Hampshire.
And I would just say, as Steve mentioned, expansion into other territories so we can serve them better. And also, we have highly skilled staff, continuing to provide training for the staff. We want to hear our managers and give feedback, make sure the customer experience and our processes are always being enhanced and improved. That's very important to our growth. Steve and I have skills related to developing neighborhoods and storage facilities, as we mentioned, using those investments to provide reserves for the business in the future, should they need them. So those things are all top of mind for me. Good training, good experiences for the customers, which are always improving. We can always do better. Even when we're doing good, we're aiming to do even better. And then build cash flow and cash reserves for unforeseen times.
Being better and always improving. A shout out to our friend and good partner of James and Whitney, Lansing, Gary Babineau. I learned from him the phrase, you don't have to be bad to be better. And we talked earlier about just mindset and having one as a company. And I think that's one that, whether it's Eric and I talking, anyone on our staff talking to each other, to a customer about the future, just understanding that we don't have to be bad at something in order to be better. And constantly improving is a goal of mine until the day I am no longer here, I guess. Want to focus on that. It's a goal, personal, for the company, for all of us.
And I'd like to say we're always seeking talented, self-motivated, ambitious people. The people are our biggest asset, bar none. And we need good people, and we aim to provide the best compensation, the best benefits, and the best work environment. And we're working on that. We're a young business. I've made mistakes and learned from them, and that truly is our focus, is to be a place that everyone in the construction business would want to work.